Good evening. It was a day of new beginnings and sacred traditions. The peaceful transition of power from one president to the next. And for the very first time, the Vice President of the United States is a woman. At 78, Joseph Robinette Biden, Jr. of Delaware is the oldest man ever to serve as president and one of the most experienced. 56-year-old Kamala Devi Harris of California makes history, not only as the first female vice president, but the first Black and South Asian American as well. They were sworn in with unprecedented security at the U.S. Capitol 2 weeks after it was stormed by supporters of President Trump. This new administration faces a world of challenges, chief among them the pandemic that has killed more than 400,000 Americans and sharply limited the inaugural ceremonies. Well, tonight, we introduce you to the 46th president and the 49th vice president with the help of the people who know them best, their closest friends. Would you say Joe Biden is ready to be president of the United States?
Absolutely. He's absolutely ready.
Cindy McCain was introduced to her husband, the late Senator John McCain, by now First Lady Jill Biden.
And I'm just so grateful that they did introduce me because love of my life.
Still, it was a surprise when the lifelong Republican endorsed Joe Biden for president. Arizona is a pretty red state. A Democrat has only won for president there twice since 1948. Do you think your endorsement helped Joe Biden win?
I hope I did. I mean, that's why I did it. But I also think it was a change in the country. We saw people here, especially suburban people, really frustrated with what was going on. And they stepped across the line like I did. And we voted together on this to make sure to do it for what was right for our children and for our grandchildren.
The children raised in this Wilmington neighborhood remember President Biden as their lifeguard back in 1962.
Who here is going to be president someday? Raise your hand. All right.
This pool that now bears his name is where Delaware NAACP President Richard Mouse Smith first met Joe Biden. So what was your first impression of Joe Biden?
Just this skinny, like I was, white guy pop up one day with a smile on his face.
The two became fast friends. Joe Biden even served as Mouse's best man.
Mouse, thank you very, very much.
I took him in the black community, in the projects and stuff. He basically learned how to deal with black folks.
Fred Sears is a close college friend of the president from the University of Delaware.
He's always understood people. I always tell the story that when Bo passed away, and I went to the funeral and I was able to, the line was ridiculous.
Bo Biden, the president's oldest son, died after battling brain cancer in 2015.
And when I finished going through the line, I stood on the side and watched these people coming up to see him and console him. And he's consoling them when he's the one standing there whose son just died a few days before. But that's the kind of person Joe is.
Losing their son and, of course, my husband to the same disease is, it's mind-boggling.
I always thought of John as a brother.
Joe was so kind to it. He had just experienced it, and Joe was so kind.
I trusted John with my life.
What does that tell you about the character of Joe Biden?
It tells me that he's a good man. And in my world, that's the best thing you can say about somebody, is that he's a good man, a good person.
The challenges President Joe Biden faces on day one are substantial. A global pandemic, an embattled economy, calls for racial justice, and a growing threat of domestic terrorism.
We must end this uncivil war that pits red against blue, rural versus urban, conservative versus liberal. We can do this.
Would you say a President Joe Biden is uniquely qualified to meet this moment that we're in right now?
I do. I think he's the perfect person for the time.
My whole soul is in this. Bringing America together, uniting our people, uniting our nation. And I ask every American to join me in this cause.
Joe Biden been ready to be president since he was 29 years old.
Together, we shall write an American story of hope, not fear, of unity, not division, of light, not darkness.
And all the experience and everything he's been through has just made him ready for this job.
May this be the story that guides us, the story that inspires us.
He is absolutely ready.